I'm Julia Danbury, the Director of Client Relations with Consociate, your third-party administrator for the District 150 medical plan as well as the flexible spending accounts. In this video, I will be discussing the flexible spending account program. I will explain what a flexible spending account or an FSA is, how the account can be used, important reminders for current elections, and how to enroll for the 2015 plan year. All employees are required to complete the flexible spending enrollment form, either online or via a paper form, and turned in at one of the open enrollment meetings or drop-off locations. Please be sure to complete the entire form, and most importantly, please include your cell phone number or home phone number on the form. The flexible spending account is a way for you to set funds aside on a pre-tax basis to pay for eligible health care or dependent daycare expenses. Typically, for every dollar you earn, a quarter of it goes to the government for tax purposes, dependent upon your tax bracket, but typically a quarter is the lowest amount. So an employee takes home 75 cents of every dollar they earn. Employees then use that 75 cents to pay for mortgages, rent, car payments, groceries, gas, and any other expenses you have internally, which could include medical or prescription expenses. So by setting funds aside in a flexible spending account, you are getting to use the full dollar instead of just the 75 cents you were previously using on those medical, prescription, or dependent daycare expenses. The flexible spending account is an annual program which requires you to enroll every year. The annual election you make at the beginning of the year is divided evenly amongst all of the pay periods within your plan year. Your plan year is from January 1st through December 31st. Your plan does have an extension for incurred claims, which I will discuss later on in the video. The annual election cannot be changed unless you have a change in status. An example of a change in status can be marriage, divorce, birth, death, change in status of employment, or loss of other coverage. You must submit the change to the insurance department within 30 days of the change in status. If you miss this period, then you will need to wait until open enrollment the following year. There are two types of accounts you can enroll in. The first is the healthcare flexible spending account, and the second, the dependent daycare account. The healthcare flexible spending account is an account which will cover you, your spouse, and any dependents in your household for all healthcare related expenses. The max amount you can set aside into your healthcare flexible spending account is $2,500. Items which are eligible are things such as medical deductibles, copays, coinsurance, prescription copays, dental expenses such as teeth cleanings, fillings, root canals, wisdom teeth removal, vision care items such as eyeglasses, eye exams, contact lenses, prescription sunglasses, LASIK eye surgery, and then eligible expenses are in no way tied to a medical plan. So you could be enrolled in the medical plan here at District 150, or you could be enrolled in a medical plan under a spouse. Items which are ineligible are typically cosmetic or hygiene related. For example, shampoo, diapers, deodorant, reconstructive type surgery, those are all non-medical related items, and so on. The eligible and ineligible expense listing can be found under the staff systems portion of the District 150 website. There is one exception to the eligible expenses I named off. If you are enrolled under Plan B, under the medical Plan B here with the district, then you are only eligible to enroll in a limited purpose flexible spending account. Plan B is a high deductible health plan and thus allows you to enroll in a health savings account or an HSA. You can only be enrolled with a limited purpose FSA when in Plan B. The limited purpose flexible spending account will only cover dental and vision expenses and will not cover any medical expenses incurred. The second account that we administer is the dependent daycare account. This account is typically used for expenses on children, which are preschool age and below for full-time care, and before or after school care for children up to age 13. Eligible dependents can also include a child, spouse, or other dependent who is physically or mentally incapable of self-care and spends at least 8 hours a day in your household. Eligible dependent daycare expenses must be for care incurred while you and/or a spouse attend school, or are actively working or searching for work. Eligible expenses cannot include babysitting for things like a date night with your spouse. The provider does not need to be licensed, but does need to be claiming the income for tax purposes. The maximum amount you can set aside in the dependent daycare account is $5,000 if you are filing separately or married filing jointly, and $2,500 for married filing separate returns. There is one feature on the Healthcare Flexible Spending Account, which I like to call the mini loan program. This feature allows the employee to use their full election amount when they incur the expenses, not when the funds have been taken out of their paycheck. For example, if you make an election of $500, the $500 is divided evenly amongst all of your pay periods within the 2015 plan year. But you could go in on January 2nd and use the full $500 election. It allows you to use the funds as you incur the expenses while still having those deductions spread out throughout the remainder of the plan year. This feature is not available on the Dependent Daycare FSA. These accounts are what I call money in, money out accounts. What that means is you can only use and be reimbursed for expenses as the funds have been deducted from your paycheck. The most important feature of the flexible spending account, and the one which most employees associate with the flexible spending account, is the use it or lose it provision. This provision states that whatever election you make, you must use within the plan year, plus any applicable extensions, which I'll explain in a second, or you will lose what is left in the account. Your employer has elected a 2.5-month extension. In 2015, eligible expenses can be incurred between the months of January 1st of 2015 and March 15th of 2016. Important note is incurred. A claim is only incurred if that was the date the service was incurred or the product was purchased. Incurred date does not mean the date the bill was received. After March 15th, employees will have until April 29th of 2016 to submit the claims incurred prior to March 16th for reimbursement. Employees will be able to be reimbursed for expenses in two ways. The first, complete a claim form located under the staff systems portion of the District 150 website. Attach a receipt or an explanation of benefits or any documentation showing date of service, services received, or the date the product was purchased, and the amount that you owed. Then fax, mail, or email in the documentation, and we will process the claim and mail you a check with reimbursement. You can also sign up for reimbursement via direct deposit. The second way you can use your flexible spending money is by using the Benny debit card to swipe for all eligible expenses. All employees who enroll will automatically receive 2 Benny debit cards. Both will have your name on them. You sign the back of the card you are using and have your spouse or dependent sign the back of the one he or she will be using. The card works based off of merchant codes, so it will only work at healthcare or daycare related merchant codes. For example, it will work at medical care providers, dental care providers, vision care providers, and all pharmacies or mass merchandisers. Target, Walmart, Costco, Schnucks, those types, and so on. The IRS requires that 100% of all tax-free money used under an FSA is documented with an administrator. So, receipts may be required and may be requested from you. Please hold on to all documentation for your card swipes. We have many items built in our system to try to reduce the number of receipt requests, but must follow the IRS guidelines on what we can accept. We build in all of the District 150 copays and submit medical claims files in order to match up as many card swipes as possible. But if we are unable to do so, we will send you a letter requesting you to send the documentation. If you do not provide the documentation, the expense will become a taxable expense. Mass merchandisers are required under IRS guidelines to have a barcoding system in place to only allow expenses FSA eligible to work on the debit card. Therefore, most all card swipes at pharmacies and mass merchandisers will not require documentation, but we still always suggest you be cautious and save all receipts. The Benny cards will also work for dependent daycare expenses, but only if the providers accept credit cards and their merchant codes are daycare related. If they do not accept a credit card, then you will need to submit a claim form. A receipt from the provider or the provider's signature on the form will need to be included. Please keep in mind you will only be reimbursed for the total amount deducted from your paycheck at the time the card swipe or claim submission for dependent daycare claims. For instance, if you elected $1,000 for the dependent daycare plan, you have only had $300 deducted from your paycheck to date, then you will only be able to be reimbursed for $300 of dependent daycare expenses. For those individuals enrolled in the flexible spending account for the 2014 plan year, please hold on to your current Benny cards. Your new 2015 elections will be loaded directly onto your current Benny cards on January 1st of 2015. The cards will continue to pull from any 2014 balance during the 2.5-month extension until the 2014 balance is depleted. The card will then begin pulling funds from the 2015 balance. The claim forms, frequently asked question pieces, direct deposit election form, eligible and ineligible expense listing, and a flexible spending savings calculator is all located for your review under the staff systems portion of the District 150 website. As a reminder, everyone must complete a flexible spending account form, enrollment form. Either online or a paper form can be completed. Please be sure to include your cell phone or a personal home phone number on the flexible spending election form. Thank you again for allowing Consociate to continue to service the Peoria Public School District 150 flexible spending account and medical plans. Thank you.